Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Stunning Steve Barber, and joining me as my awesome co-host, as always, is Delicious Dwaylon Davis.
Hey, everybody.
And those of you watching on YouTube, you already see we have not just one, we have two guests today, and they are from the Dad World Order podcast with Eric Big Rig Maffey, Mike Mr. Magnificent Martin, and test it that Mike. Mike, has it the little echo thing you were doing?
Mr. Magnificent.
Dwaylon, we have to get one of those.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like showing off.
I like toys.
And they are joining us for our continuing series on why we are fans. It's been such a good hit, and I've been reaching out to people who I know would be great guests. And this is a case of I actually met y'all at the summer. No, it wasn't the Summer Sizzler. It was the Halloween. No, yeah, I think it may have been the Halloween one.
I think so.
Yeah.
And we got to talking. It's like, hey, what's your Twitter handle? I looked. We were already following each other on Twitter. So we've been friends. We didn't even realize it.
Right.
So
I didn't even know that I knew you, man.
like, hey, man, how you like that? Yeah. And they have an absolutely fantastic podcast. Right now, are you still on YouTube, or were you able to transition also to audio?
No, we haven't done it yet. I haven't reached out to your guy you sent me. I do appreciate that, though. I haven't reached out to him yet, but I'm working on that just to have another avenue. Yeah, we're constantly, we're 5 months in, so right now we're just on YouTube, but yes.
Oh, yeah. Great, nice, fun show. I mean, I've watched the live stream. I made a couple comments on there, especially when you had, I believe when you had Sinclair. I was giving you some comments.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Sinclair. He's a fun guest. He's been one of our favorite guests.
That was one of my favorite interviews. SOB was a lot of fun.
And you also had Jack Vaughn.
We did.
Yeah.
The veteran.
That guy is just absolutely entertaining. It's we're fortunate enough to be close, up there to FGW Wrestling, where he's frequents, and he's the champ right now. I got him, and you got the Kill Billy up there. So, again, them and NWF, man, we're very fortunate to be wrestling fans in this area.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of great wrestling, in the Cincinnati area. And Dwaylon one day will come up here, and he'll be able to see it firsthand, coming all the way from West Paducah. But before we get started, guys, go ahead and tell everybody how they would find your show, how they would find you on social media, anything like that, because we've discovered, thank you, Ted to Hillbilly Hill, he pointed out that a lot of people don't make it to the end of podcast. And so we want to make sure you get your information out at the very beginning.
Good call. Go ahead,
Get him,
Michael.
Big Rig.
Oh, man, we're giving each other. Okay. All right. Dad World Order podcast. Pretty easy. Looks just like the one logo and love. But instead of an N, it's a D. Pretty simple. Pretty much all of our socials are going to be at DWO_podcast. That's on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. The only one it's not is Facebook, and that is at the DWO podcast. And we do all of our live streams on YouTube, usually Thursday and Sunday nights. We'll review Raw and Dynamite usually on Thursdays, depending which show. I mean, I'll say this: we review them if they're worth talking about. I'm not going to review a show just to review it.
Right.
We cover all the big highlights pretty much, and then same on Sunday. We'll talk about usually Rampage and SmackDown, any big news from the week, stuff like that.
Usually indie shows.
If we went to an NWF show, we'll talk about that. But I mean, our biggest thing is we just really enjoy talking about wrestling. And I like my mind. I have a crazy fantasy booking mind, so I'll watch these shows, and that's kind of the point of view that I watch it from now is, where's this going? I wish I could still watch it. I know we're talking about how, we're wrestling fans, and I can watch it as a fan. I still get excited, but I also just have this crazy, where could this go 6 months down the line type thing. So, we have a lot of fun over there. Yeah, some I get right and it's pretty crazy, and other ones I'm way off base. So it just depends. We'll just say this: if Sammy takes one of the belts from Roman in Elimination Chamber, I'm going to look like a genius. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, because we did talk about that last time we saw each other. We talked specifically about
I'm telling you. But no, we have a good time over there. So if you ever want to come over, we're always happy to have people, especially getting people over there commenting during the shows and stuff. We love interacting with anybody watching the show. Because I love bouncing ideas off each other. That's one of my favorite things to do.
And I like to talk, so and I have lots of opinions, and I like wrestling, so this works out well.
Yeah.
Eric's got the facts, and I got lots of opinions.
And if you're lucky, Mike is usually fairly buzzed towards the end of the show, so he's always got something fun to say.
Oh, Dwayne, it's almost like we're looking in a mirror here.
I know, right?
The facts and opinions and everything except for the buzz part, because Dwayne and I both stopped drinking a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because we used to drink a lot, and that's why we kind of had to. But
I'm a bit of a connoisseur. Just being a proud Kentucky kid, I have I don't say a museum, but I have a crazy collection of whiskey.
He has an extensive bourbon collection,
and it's I'm like the guy with the wine who's smelling it and picking the notes out. So it's when I tell you I drink it for the taste of it, that's exactly what it is. Everything else is just a side effect. But anyway, everything in moderation. Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're fine. I mean, but admittedly, when I drink, my drinking choice was Jim Beam. So,
well, yeah, there you go.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, Dwaylen, what was yours?
Vodka.
Yeah.
I had a bad experience.
Whiskey.
Freshman year of college. Never again.
That's why I had a bad experience last time I ever drank vodka, and that's why I stopped drinking.
Yep. Yeah, that's all it takes, man.
Mm-hmm. Handle Heaven Hill vodka in about 45 minutes never goes down well.
No.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go ahead and give our own contact and listen info. If you want to email the show, it's armchairbookingpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/armchairbookingpodcast. You can find us on Instagram also at Armchair Booking Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Booking Armchair. You can find us on TikTok at Armchair Booking. If you see us on YouTube, that's the only video outlet that I know of that we're on. If you know of any more, actually let us know, because I don't know how we got there. I also don't know how we got them on IMDb, but somehow we got on IMDb.
Yep, but we're there.
Hey.
You
made it.
We made it. We did.
That like rivaled the Micro Machine guy right there. You're like, you can find us at.
And the sad thing is, I'm still not done. There's even more. You can find our merch at tpublic.com/user/armchair-booking-podcast. As far as audio platforms go, you can find us on any audio platform you can think of. If we're not there, let one of us know, and we'll do whatever we can to get ourselves added. You can find my other podcast, The Cubicle Chat, also on the same audio platform. That's my non-wrestling one, so I can kind of cool down a little bit. From every once in a while, you got to break away, then come back.
Yeah.
Talk about something else besides wrestling for a minute.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you can always find Dwaylen on Twitter at fat_daddy73. And he's Fat Daddy, along with Big Mama, his wife. They also have their own YouTube and TikTok channel called Big and Fat. And wow, did I get everything already, Dwaylen?
Did you get TeePublic?
Yeah, got TeePublic.
Then that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of
it.
You didn't say not that Big Mama, but
not sometimes we do say not that not the NWF Big Mama. Now they have met across here.
Yeah,
I heard.
So yep. What were you saying, Eric?
I did forget we are also on Pro Wrestling Tees, DWO podcast on there. Do you know what the search is for that, Mike? I'm drawing a blank.
It should be at DW_podcast, same as the other handles.
Okay, yeah, at DWO_podcast, Pro Wrestling Tees, and I'm just waiting for my new shirt design to get approved. Pretty happy with it.
Nice. I tried getting this on Pro Wrestling Tees a long time ago, and they rejected it. And I was like, okay, I don't know why, because I've heard that pretty easy to get on there, but
it wasn't. Yeah, we didn't really have an issue at all, did we, Mike?
The only issue we had is submitting designs and getting them approved.
Yeah, they're really picky about pixel count and all that jazz.
Mm.
Yeah, so but T Public's been good to us, for the three people that have actually bought stuff from us. So that's one thing we do need merch. Oh, I will say this, and once you guys get on audio, I will actually suggest this as well. If you give us a 5-star rating along with a written review on Apple Podcasts, I will read it on the air.
Yep.
In fact, I have not checked it today to see if anybody has. I'm really bad. I don't check until we actually start recording, which is my dumb fault for that.
You get a genuine reaction then, I mean, that's good.
That's true. And no, nothing. But there's also other platforms where you can give a rating, just not a review. So if you give us the rating, do a screenshot and kind of give us send a review with that. I'll also read that on the air because I know Spotify you can give a rating, Good Pod you can give a rating. There's some other ones, but for that now I think that's all. All right.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think
Pay the bills.
I think you got it.
Pay the bills.
Yep,
We have
exactly.
now paid
Right.
the bills, so.
If anybody actually wants to pay us to do this, please do.
You know what? That may be a thing too.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, we'll be showing up at all the wrestling conventions like the one in Chillicothe in March. I don't know if you guys are planning on going or not, but going and
I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah, March 11th. I'll send you the details after.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same people. It's actually put on by Bobby Fulton.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that was the one. I think they just did one back in like the fall, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
They do another one in the fall, like Kane and all them were there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yep. In fact, it's going to be in the same place that one's even held.
Okay.
Yep. So we're going to go to set up our own booth. Start charging people, $10 for, a handshake.
Yeah.
So
the handshake's free. Letting go's gonna cost you.
Exactly.
You could do the did you see the Lacey Evans post the other day where she was like, "All you marks coming up to me in a hotel asking for an autograph better have some money or I'm not signing crap." Like,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Which I mean, it might just be her being a heel, but
it is. But
also,
I mean, they don't
I
look
can
good
understand as a performer, like that's got to get annoying.
Yeah. I mean, you want to be famous, but do you want to be that famous?
Yeah.
I always say, I'd rather be rich than famous.
Well, along with the Dad Order, the DWO, which I love seeing that shirts every time I've gone to Covington. I look out, there they are.
They are every time.
But I want to give some other shout because I always shout you guys out on the podcast.
Yes, you do. And we appreciate that very much.
Absolutely.
We're terrible about it. We're learning, Steve. We're trying to get to that level, man.
I've had to actually, you know what? I have notes now because there's been sometimes I've forgotten people and then I feel bad because I'll go and I try to tag them also on Twitter, when I make the post about the show. And then I realize I'm like, I forgot, so-and-so. I'm like, so now I'm, all right. So the first one we always shout out is Ted the Hillbilly Hill. If you have never listened to his show, go check him out. He is absolutely awesome. The Hill Truth. We had him on our show last week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, another fantastic time because you do feel like you're sitting under the learning tree.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because, I mean, he really is like the true podfather because he's connecting everybody. But along with Ted, I'll mention Wrestling with the Truth, actually Wrestling with the War now because they're doing their own series right now talking about the Monday Night Wars. But that was the BC Hunter, Jay Myers, and also the Smack Raw podcast. That's another great one. Botch spots and chair shots. That is hard to say, Will.
Yeah.
Ted mentioned is, that's a tough.
Say that 5 times fast.
You see, I mean, I can talk fast like you said, the Micro Machine Man, but when it comes to that, you're like, blah, 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 botch spots and chair shots.
Yeah, spots and chair shots. Yeah, that's some she shells down by the seashore right there.
Something. A new podcast, which I found out has shouted us out on their podcast, is called Finish Your Wrestling. And yeah, they're fairly new. I guess they had some episodes last April, but then they actually took a break for looks like about 4 or 5 months, and they came back again in October. And they actually they tweeted where they gave us a shout out, kind of like the way we've been doing on our Twitter. And so I went and listened to it. There it was, and they said, "Yeah, we've been listening." So I want to give those guys a shout out. Austin Boyer at Wrestling World is another one. And I want to get into a couple that aren't necessarily wrestling. The True Crime Cast / Bless Their Hearts, Jamie and John. We're actually going to be having them on the show here here pretty soon. Great guys. They're actually out of Berea, Kentucky. So not that far. Well, because you guys are down in what, around Covington, Newport, Florence.
We're more Union, Florence, Independence area, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely closer.
We're about 30 minutes from downtown.
Okay. And there's a few more Cincinnati area podcasts. TNC Sports Talk, that's Justin. Mike, he runs his on StreamYard, and then he manages to get it to Spreaker. I said, yeah, he is definitely the best person to talk to about that. He is very good at what he does.
Awesome.
Mixtape Podcast, which they're not a wrestling podcast, but I actually met them at a wrestling show. But another one, they do a lot of more pop culture type, a lot dealing with music. They have interviews. They just had the singer from the Score Nut Zippers on their show. They've had the bass player from White Zombie. They had Rhonda Shear on there one time. I was like, well, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you never know till you ask,
Yeah, exactly. And the NWF podcast, which they have now put out an episode now in like what, a month and a half,
right?
Something like that. Yeah.
That's what's up? They were doing good, and all of a sudden they just kind of stopped. So. Oh, but anyway, enough of the shout outs, because right now we just want to focus on the Dad World Order. And I just want to find out, y'all get to pick and choose who goes first, but I just want to know.
Go ahead, Mike.
Like, here you go.
How long have you been wrestling fans, and what got you into wrestling?
I have been a wrestling fan since Saturday morning cartoons. It was just a part of my Saturday morning routine. You'd have cartoons, followed by like Dukes of Hazzard, and then you'd have WWF or WWC wrestling on. It's Saturday mornings. Honestly, it was like watching with a neighborhood friend of mine, and we were, it just became, like I said, it became a part of the thing. And growing up then, I'm an '80s kid. So we got to grow up in the heyday of, as a child, it was Hogan, Warrior, Macho, all the big flashy, larger than life characters. Then as I became into my adolescence, I grew up to the NWO and the Monday Night Wars. So I got to grow up in just an absolute great time of wrestling, for me. And it just became my thing. I guess like some women or whatever will keep up the soap opera their entire life. This is kind of my days of our lives that I just kept up with over the years, and it's my thing, and it's a sweet addiction, man, and it's a great outlet for me. Just watching and getting away and escaping from the crazy reality of the ins and outs of life, and just to this our faux world, or whatever you want to call it, for a couple hours each week. And then getting down here and talking with you guys about it, is also just, usually nothing positive. So it's, like I said, it's a great outlet. So.
How about you there, Big Rig?
Well, I was, I'm a little bit younger than, Mike, so I didn't get to, really experience, the Macho Man Hogan, era live. Obviously I've seen it since then. But I was about 7-8 years old when the Monday Night Wars started. So probably shouldn't have been watching wrestling. But I caught it when I could. I didn't have cable, so it was kind of a when I was at my buddy's house, I would we'd turn it on and stuff like that. And I mean, my dad did buy me WCW versus the World for PlayStation 1, so like he knew I was watching it, but probably shouldn't have. But I loved just everything about it. I remember being I had to be 8-9 years old when my dude, well, he's Mankind at the time, got thrown off the top of the cage at King of the Ring, and just like that was one of those moments that I was just, as a kid, I mean, you see it as an adult and you're like, what the hell? But as a kid, you're just like, this guy's a freaking superhuman. Like I didn't know what to think about it. So I loved all the back and forth there. Me and all my buddies had all the video games, we'd play those and stuff, and obviously doing moves on each other off the couches and everything like that. I really enjoyed that. And then I'll be honest, I was kind of a lapsed fan for a long time, because after WCW was bought, I started to get a little bit older, and Raw's programming kind of went a little bit downhill, and I just lost interest. I'd keep up with it every now and again. Like I remember watching, like WrestleMania 30 and stuff like that when the whole, Daniel Bryan mania was going on and all that jazz. I remember the Punk pipe bomb and all that. But it was never something I wasn't watching on a weekly basis. And then I would say about 3 years ago, I started watching Wrestle Talk podcast, which is they're in England, I believe.
Yeah.
And they would do like little 5-minute reviews of like Raw and Dynamite and stuff like that. And I started noticing, because I would just keep up with the storylines, and I started noticing like, man, they talk a lot of shit about Raw and SmackDown, but they always have good stuff to say about Dynamite. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. And man, I started watching Dynamite like right before live crowds came back. I would say in like April, I think, before live crowds came back. And I'm like, they're putting these shows, like, I think one of the first matches I saw was the Young Bucks versus Eddie Kingston and Penta for the tag titles.
Yes. Yeah, I remember
and
that.
I watched.
Excellent match. Yeah.
I watched Nick Jackson put thumbtacks in Penta's mouth and super kick him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm just like, what am I? What, like, this is because WWE hadn't done anything like that in forever. So I'm like, I'm all in on this, like, holy shit. Excuse me for the language, but it's just, and I started watching on a weekly basis again. And then I gave WWE another shot because, they were hyping up Money in the Bank and everything. It was cool, especially seeing Big E win, first live crowd back and everything like that. And then obviously AEW had that whole summer once live crowds came back where they were just mega hot, especially going into All Out. And then All Out, you had, Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole and everything. And it was Punk at, the Last Dance or First Dance. Sorry.
One of the dances.
So they just, they got me back into it. And I feel like wrestling ever since, especially since live crowds have come back, it's been nonstop. I mean, wrestling news in 2022 was nuts, and 2023 we're a month in, and I don't think it's stopping anytime soon.
No, I don't either.
It's there is times it gets exhausting, I'll admit. Especially all the people that are like, oh, they dropped new Rock merch. He's gonna be at the Rumble. Or they're just trying to make money. Like, just stuff like that gets a little overwhelming sometimes. But ultimately, I've met a lot of really cool people. Like me and Mike, we were buddies from work and stuff like that, but I'd say we definitely connected even stronger once we really started getting back into wrestling. Which I think it was, I texted you because I went to the first Dynamite in Cincinnati, and I was like, I wonder if Mike's going to this, because I knew he was a wrestling fan, and he was like, yeah, I'll be there. And Mike will tell you he doesn't really remember that show very well.
Had a little too much fun.
It was cool because since I have gotten back into it, my daughter, who's 7, has also gotten back into it.
Okay.
Which has been a really cool thing to have, like, just me and her. And we've gone to lots of shows. We've gone to a couple Dynamites. She actually loves indie shows more than she likes going to the big ones. Like, we'll go to NWF, or like we've gone to a couple Warrior shows. Which I'll tell you what, if you ever get a chance to go to a Warrior Wrestling show, do it. They put on some of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
You get to meet Will Ospreay.
I got to meet Will.
Awesome.
Dude,
Awesome.
I got to watch Will Ospreay versus Blake Christian in a little auditorium in South Bend, Indiana. Like,
he's sending me pictures, and I'm like,
I heard they killed it though. I heard it was great,
dude. That match was like, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. That match was insane. But like, I love it because, and this is why I will, AEW, no matter what they do, will always have a special place in my heart. Is they made me branch out, because for the longest time I thought WWE was the end all be all, and since I came to AEW, or started watching AEW, I should say, their history is wrestling history. They talk about, back when these guys were in New Japan, when they were in ROH, and they talk about, these guys had a match back in ROH in 2002. Well, I want to go watch that.
Now I got to look that up. Yeah.
You know, same with New Japan. They keep talking about, Kenny had all these, amazing matches with this guy named Okada in New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I went back and watched those, and I'm like, I missed all this.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding?
And he's like, Mike, you got to watch this match. Mike, watch this match.
I,
I'm like,
I
oh my
went
God.
over one night just to be like, Mike, we need to watch this. Like, I went over Mike's house when for Wrestle Kingdom 17 earlier
I already
this year.
watched it. Mind you,
I had already watched it. I watched it again because it was that good. So it made me branch out, and now there's all these indies. Like, we go to Wrestling Revolver, which is in Dayton. Great show put on by Sammy Callahan.
Okay.
And you just, like, the last Revolver show we went to, we got to watch, what was it? Zachary Wentz, Bandito, and Ace Austin in a triple threat.
Oh, wow.
Like, just madness. So,
got to meet John Moxley, Arn Anderson, Scott
Isn't
Steiner.
Isn't AEW, aren't they in Dayton
the night before?
They're in Dayton the night before.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Oh, I'm saying like this coming Wednesday. I believe they're in Dayton.
Yeah, we're going to the Revolver show on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I'm not gonna be able to make that. Is that the Nutter Center?
No, it's
the Dynamite's at the Nutter Center. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
At Wright State. The best part about the Revolver shows is they're in a little like gymnasium at like the rec center, and
it is
like,
it is so indie wrestling.
The first Revolver show we went to, we got to watch John Moxley and Speedball Mike Bailey have a match in a freaking gymnasium, like in 2022.
That's the great thing about the indies, though, is because like there's no restraints or anything.
Yeah.
You don't have you don't have creative saying, okay, you got to hit this spot and that spot. It's like, just go do what you do.
It's gonna be awesome. And especially with AEW the way they are now, you're seeing all these guys that you're seeing on Wednesday and Friday nights, or Monday and Tuesday if you watch their YouTube stuff, and you're seeing these guys out at indie shows that you can go out and you can meet these guys, talk to them.
Yeah,
and that is just mind blowing to me. Like, since we've like started going, like Eric said, branching out and started going to some of this, indie stuff, just how cool everybody really, really is.
Yeah,
and to add on what Eric was saying, how his daughter connecting, that was something, when he started talking to me about that, how beautiful that was. And I actually got my son to go with me to some indie shows, and he actually really liked it so much so he actually has him and all his friends. He have a group of freshman high schoolers with me at most NWF shows now, but it's something that I can get them to go do with me on the weekend. So I said, man, it's just good stuff all around.
Yeah, my son, he's decided he only wants to see like the things like the Fan Fest where you can meet, some
the
of
big stars. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to go to indie wrestling anymore. And I'm like, this is where they started, right?
Exactly.
He used to enjoy it, and now all of a sudden he'd rather play video games like all day.
My son's like that too. We went to a few WWE house shows, and he was into it, but now it's like, no, I'm just gonna stay home and play video games. It's like, all right, dude, you do what you do.
Yeah.
And of course, for anybody listening at home, this is why they are the Dad World Order, and this is something we all four have in common: is we're all dads.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, honorary members, dude.
Old life.
But I mean, that's something. And the funny thing is I never, like I almost watched wrestling behind the scenes for a while with her because I wasn't gonna like, I didn't think she'd, like it, and I wasn't gonna like force her to watch it.
Right.
But ironically, the thing that just happened on Saturday, the Royal Rumble, is how she got into it originally because I was watching. I think it was the last Rumble in the Thunderdome, and I was watching it. It was like 1 a.m. or something, and she woke up had to go to the bathroom or something like that, and she came out, and the Women's Rumble was on, and she's like, oh, what's this? And she just fell in love with it ever since. At first she didn't want to watch the shows with me, but then like I'd be watching it and she'd see, uh, well, okay, so she fell in love with Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa is her absolute all-time favorite. She's met her on 2 separate occasions. Like, let me just put over Thunder Rosa for a second. That woman, you want to talk about one of the hardest working and just kindest people on planet Earth, that Thunder Rosa. She's unreal. And
Tell her about her birthday.
Yeah, she FaceTimed my daughter on her birthday to say happy
awesome.
birthday.
Oh wow. That's awesome.
So just
that wrestling community, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's unreal. And it makes me so happy. Like I got her you know what she asked for Christmas? She wanted the Ref Aubrey AEW ring combo pack. Like that's what she wanted for Christmas. She wanted that. She wanted the Jungle Boy Luchasaurus action figure. Like she's got more action figures than I ever had when I was a kid. It's ridiculous. Like I used to have more up here, and eventually she was like, "Can we just open that?" Like because she just wanted to play. Like I used to have Brody Lee up there, and she was like, "Can we open that?" And now she plays with Brody Lee.
Right.
And I'm not the, guy that's going to be like, oh, no, we can't open anything. Like the only one I have unopened is Mankind and Stone Cold. That'll probably end up getting opened eventually too. And then I get the micro brawlers in the AEW All Elite crate. So I just put those up there. And of course I had to get the NWO.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, kind of like right there.
There you go. Yeah.
With New Day on top.
It's a new day. Yes, it is. I don't want to rush him back from injury. I was so hoping that Big E was going to be in the Rumble.
Me too. I was hoping he'd be like a surprise entrant.
That pop would have been huge.
Oh, yeah.
They just played the New Day entrance a third time,
Yeah.
No, play his singles entrance.
Yeah.
Y'all want to go big? Then say that. I love it. And he just comes out. Yeah.
God.
But
talking about that made me think about something in the Rumble.
Instead, we got the irresistible force. We were at a Rumble party on Saturday. You should have heard just the boos when number 30 came out in the Women's Rumble. It was deafening.
Oh, not big on Nia Jax, huh?
No.
Was that the one Cephas went in on?
Yes. Literally, the guy that was hosting the party. I was like, look who it is, and he just turns to the TV, just shouting at her. It was awesome. Well,
do you think she's going to stay for a while? Or do you think it was a one-time appearance?
I don't think she's coming back. I think it was just a one-time thing because it seems like she was kind of doing her own thing for a while.
Yeah, I follow her on social media, and yeah, she seemed pretty content not to be wrestling.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't surprise me if she's back. She's not my favorite. I'll say that.
Kind of like boo-boo on the whole, like just industry while she was off too.
She's got a lot of stuff surrounding her that certain people don't like. Like there's some people that said she was unsafe. There's some people that said she doesn't sell. And then there's other people that were mad at her for, I can't even remember. It's a whole thing. I won't get into it. But anyway, just talking about the Rumble and my daughter getting into it, it made me very happy that she can have these, especially with how prominent women's wrestling is now. Like there's still, it's not exactly on par with men's wrestling all the time, but I'm glad that in this day and age she has role models she can look up to that aren't
Yeah.
TikTok teenagers and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I would much rather her look up to a Becky Lynch or a Thunder Rosa than whoever this 14-year-old girl is that does makeup tutorials. You know what I mean? Like I don't follow
even,
their work ethic, not that one.
Or even a Nikki Victory or Riley Matthews.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we went to what was the one we went to with the James Cross Beck Reeves match?
Was that
VFW one?
Oh, that
VF.
That was a VFW.
I didn't make it to
in
that
Norwood.
one.
Dude, that was awesome.
The cage match.
But I mean, there's like, how many people were there? 50 maybe. Yeah. I mean, it's about all you can hold in that hall. And like she got to watch Riley and Big Mama wrestle that night. She was going nuts the whole time, so that was just, and it's cool too because like I can bring her to shows and like she knows Mike, she knows Mike gonna be there. Yeah, okay. Like she knows that my friends and everything. And I actually met this is just how awesome the wrestling community is. There's a guy on I'm sure he's on Twitter too, but I met him on Instagram. 74 Lands. He does like Simpsons wrestling crossover art.
Okay.
And actually I can show you. I got one of his things right here. So he did the entire, majority of the AEW roster of Simpsons characters.
That's cool.
Wow.
So like FTRs like Ralph and so
for those of you listening on audio, you need to go check out the YouTube channel and see this. That was fantastic.
It's so he does some really, really cool crossover art. And I just contacted him on a whim one day, just like, hey man, your stuff's really awesome. And I asked him if he wouldn't mind doing a commission and doing a Simpsonization of me and my daughter. And he did one of like, I don't know if you ever seen the picture of like Homer with like Bart on his shoulders. Well, it's me with her on my shoulders, and she's got like Thunder Rosa face paint on. I got my DWO shirt on. So it's
awesome. It's really
just really, really cool stuff. Stuff that I would never have thought of in my wildest dreams. And I was just like, hey, this is just the thought in my head, and he had it drawn up in like a day. And and then he ended up making what's that?
And what pay-per-view did she wear over here for?
I
popped for it either way.
Was it?
It was the last one. Or MJF?
Oh, it was Full Gear. Yeah, it was Full Gear. Yeah, I had her wear it over to Mike's house. We watched the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view together, and he was like, dude, what is that? Because I had it put on a shirt for her.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna get one made too. And then I had him do a single one of me, which, spoiler alert, that's going on one of our PWT shirts. But then he also did a Family Guy ization of me and Mike, where I'm Peter and Mike's Quagmire. So that was pretty awesome.
Oh, right.
Can you do the giggity?
So yeah, if I can give a shout out, it's the number 74 and then Lands, LANDS. Check him out. He's awesome.
Okay.
There's so many things you'd be like, oh my god, and you'll just pop and laugh for it.
Dude, he sent me, so like that was the best part, is like I ended up buying a shirt and some stickers off of him too. So I got a shirt that's Homer in what looks like Macho Man gear, but it says Nacho Man, which I don't know if you guys are super familiar with The Simpsons, like him singing the Nacho Man song and eating nachos out of his hat. So that was awesome. And then I have a Ned Flanders as Undertaker, and it says Stupid Sexy Taker on it. I have Stone Cold Steve Homer and Mrs. Krabappel is Sable, like just all kinds of good
Oh
stuff.
Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly
So yeah,
what you think.
he's hilarious. Just check him out. He makes some really cool stuff.
So I know Joel and I, we've actually talked about this quite a bit. Do you still catch grief from people who aren't fans about being wrestling fans? Like, oh, it's fake. Or the one I heard was, what are you doing? You have a master's degree. Why do you like wrestling? Like, I have no idea what the correlation is there. Plenty of wrestlers have master's degrees. So, but do y'all still catch grief as well?
Yeah. Yep. Right.
Got a master's in medieval studies.
Luchasaurus, Drew McIntyre, Nikki Cross,
John
Xavier.
Cena's got a master's degree in thugonomics.
Thugonomics.
So, but did
No,
y'all still?
honestly, I mean, I don't know if it's because I don't give a hoot or what it is, but more often than not, I don't get like, catch grief from people. I get, usually the response I get is some sort of, I either used to watch it, my husband watches it, so and so watches it, my brother watches it, or I used to watch it, and I get a lot more of that. And I mean, honestly, I think I don't know. I can't explain what it is. Maybe people are just, they don't want to offend me. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, any like flack I get, I guess, would be just ribbing from friends. Like I got a group that I play Xbox with a lot, and we got like a Discord group, and I remember this distinctly. We were doing a thing one night where like people were wanting to play, and somebody was like, well, I'll play if so and so plays, or if so and so does this or that. And somebody was like, man, a lot of stipulations. And I said, this has got more stipulations than a Vince Russo match.
Mm-hmm.
And like 3 people were like, what? And I was like, my real friends would have popped for that. Not any real flack, but just not understanding my references. I'm like, damn it, that would have killed my wrestling circle.
Yeah, most time I walk around work carrying this.
There you go.
So
Yep.
at work, I'm actually referred to by some people as, oh, that's the guy who has the wrestling podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they don't really snicker about it anymore. When I tell them how long we've been doing it, and I mean, we enjoy it. Get to meet a lot of people like you two. And we've had fun with it. I mean, it's such a great community, and they just don't understand it, so they're missing out. Not my fault.
Well, and here's the other thing: there's different types of wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Like
we talked about that on the show. Yeah.
There are wrestling fans, and then there are wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Like the ones that you almost are you sure that you don't think this is real?
Really?
Yeah.
Or like, just some of the stuff they say and just how they present themselves and how they act.
We always say there's like 25 to 30% of the crowd at like an indie show that just maybe isn't in on it yet.
Are you here ironically? Like there's times where you're just like, oh, you're one of those, or whatever. But a majority of the people I meet, I genuinely enjoy meeting. But then there's the ones where you're just like, well, I really would like to not talk to you for the rest of the night. So.
Yeah.
But one thing, that all those people do have in common, though, and that's such a cool thing about the indie shows, is that everybody there is a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
There's not usually your casual, fans there. Everybody there is there for that singular purpose, which is really cool. And going back to the catch and grief thing, I think when people see just like how passionate we are about this and how we talk about it, and just how what we put out there, I think is just people respect that. So either that or they don't want to be catching a flying elbow from your boy.
Right.
But so because they don't call Eric Big Rig for nothing, because Waylon, I stand next to him, I'm like, I'm a kind of a big guy, and I'm used to like people being next to me not being as big. No, right there together. I mean, if we ran into each other, I mean, it'd be like when you see the two guys are doing the crisscross in the ring and bam,
Yeah.
and they just kind of
Doing
stop and stare.
the Logan Paul ricochet. Just
Yeah.
I would pay high money to see you guys do that spot.
You'd be paying
I would
our
need
hospital.
I would need to be paid high money to do that
Oh,
spot
yeah.
because I'm
Call the
gonna have some
paramedics.
I'm gonna have some hospital bills.
Oh,
after
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I would probably break my leg falling off the ropes trying to just dive.
I'd probably
You know,
break
you-
my leg climbing into the ring, not even
Right.
getting on the ropes
Yeah.
yet.
And
I
don't
would
know if
I would 100% try to springboard and one of my feet would miss the ropes and I wouldn't even make it to the middle of the ring. So
It'd just be boom.
ugh.
and they get up, pay me. Please
Yeah.
pay me. And now take me to
Please.
the hospital.
Do people like me yet? Yeah, that spot was nuts though. I'll say that. Say what you will about Logan Paul, that spot was insane.
What was your finishing move? What do we come up with your finishing move? You hit a
Mine?
mini board. Yeah. There's something big rig related. I was trying to think.
We came up with a couple. I think one of them was the over and out.
Yeah, over and out.
Because we imagined Excalibur saying it, how he
Mhm.
does the over and out. Like,
Yeah.
just, you know, he puts that emphasis like through the move.
Yeah.
Big 10-4.
That's a big 10-4. Yeah. No. Good old Excalibur. Gotta love it. I'm an Ian Riccaboni mark though. That's my guy. If I could pick any play-by-play announcer, Ian Riccaboni's it.
Yeah, when
He's
he
like
first
William
started in
Regal.
Ring of Honor, I wasn't sure about him, but then it's like, okay, he's good.
Mhm.
I gave him a chance, and it's like, yeah, this guy's good. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, you go watch like any of the Ring of Honor pay-per-views under the AEW banner.
Mm-hmm.
He makes everything feel like it matters.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
He makes you feel the entire match.
Yep.
And that's the mark. To me, that's a mark of a really good play-by-play guy.
Yeah.
So, and Caprice Coleman is hilarious. Those two
Yes.
together
Yeah.
are so good. And I also love that they brought them in for the tribute match. I thought
Yeah.
that was a really
Yeah,
cool
it's
thing to
classy,
do.
Yeah.
So, Joellen, do you have any more questions?
No, none that I can think of. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure. Glad I got to meet you all.
Likewise.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us
We
on.
talk a lot, so
Yeah, I was gonna say if you
a
don't cut
DWO
me off
takeover.
at some point, I'm gonna talk. Like we have to cut ourselves off a
We
lot
do
of the time.
we do the same. It's like, well, we got to
Mhm.
wrap this up, and it's
right.
like, but I
We're
got
like,
one more point to make.
We're
Yeah.
at an hour 20. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're only halfway through the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know, Eric.
yeah.
You told me though you actually have a hard stop at 9:30. So
Yeah. I'd like
Yeah.
to if I could. I got stuff to do tomorrow, so
Right.
trying
Yep,
to get on a normal schedule.
yeah, and my dad actually tried to call me while we were recording, and I do need
Oh.
to call him. Well, my
Oh.
uncle passed away this past weekend, so my dad.
That's
Oh,
right.
sorry to
That's
hear
right. Yeah.
So, I hate to end the show like on a kind of a bad, thing like that. But my uncle, he was a good man, and I don't know if he liked wrestling, but I know his son, my cousin, he did because
Hmm.
I was sitting in their house when Tully Blanchard said, "I'm introducing the Perfect 10." And out comes
Out
Baby
come
Doll.
Baby Doll.
Out come Baby
Oh.
Doll, and my cousin Joey said, "That's Nicola Roberts from World Class." So there you go. So, but yeah, thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
on. I mean,
thank
it's
you,
been a
guys.
Yeah,
blast.
man.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
a blast.
We got to do your show as well sometime.
Yep.
Thursdays
doubt.
will be a little hard because you guys are recording at the same time we're recording. Unless we somehow figure out a way to do a joint recording, that would be something kind of cool. But
Steve, we got some things in the pipeline, man. We're
right.
constantly, like I said, evolving. So we're
Especially
we're getting our footing.
we're on opposite schedules, and he's on day shift, and I'm on night shift. So our shows are going to be all over the place, especially coming up. But
Okay.
like I said, we do have some things in the pipeline. Potential really cool interview coming up. I'm not going to confirm it yet, but
Right.
when we do announce it, it's going to be awesome.
Is it Vince Russo?
No.
It's like, nah.
He follows our Twitter. I will say that.
Yeah, he does.
Yep.
Oh, really?
No way,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, bro. I don't know if I'd have him on or not because I mean it may get us some listeners, but it may also cost us
At
some
what
listeners, too.
price?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
At what price? Yeah.
Your soul.
The only way that works is if you do a Vince Russo on a pole match. That's
There
it.
you go. That's it.
Oh, well, I mean, we did have Buff Bagwell on, and he sounded like he was not a fan of Russo. So
Yeah.
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 I can't imagine
Well,
many
I mean,
people are.
he
That's
put his
so
mom
awesome
on a
you got Buff,
forklift. I
dude.
mean,
yeah, so. But
Well, I don't know,
anyway,
Mike. Can we confirm the interview or no?
Yeah. I mean, we've been, it's set
Is it set 100%?
100%.
Oh.
Okay. So I can't confirm when it's going to drop, but we are going to be recording an interview with AEW producer BJ Whitmer
awesome.
coming up.
Nice.
So,
Like Eric said, we're big fans of the women's division, and we kept seeing his name associated with a lot of these banger women's matches that have been put out lately. So definitely piqued our interest. He's he's a Ring of Honor OG.
Yep.
I remember seeing him
Yeah.
back in the day at the old Ring of Honor shows. And actually an old classmate of mine. We actually went to high school together.
Oh, awesome.
No, okay.
Really? Small
That's
world,
awesome.
right? So, yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, we're really excited about that. This is gonna be really
Yeah.
cool. I know, views be had. I know, Big Rig and I are just excited to pick this guy.
I'm just,
Right.
I cannot
that's-
wait, dude. Like, he's pretty much, I think they said it was since the women's tag match in Toronto. That was the first one he produced, and from then on, he's produced the rest of them. So, like Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm at Full Gear, that was him. Like, all these women's matches that have been awesome lately, he's been producing them. So, like, I'm just excited to be able to talk to him. Like, okay, how much input are you giving? Like, what's that process? Like, how, whatever. So, keep an eye out for that. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Awesome. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, go listen to the Dad Word Order or watch the Dad Word Order podcast. Order some of their merch off TeePublic. Go check them out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that. And if you go to an NWF show, look for the shirts.
Yeah.
Pro Wrestling Tees.
Pro Wrestling Tees.
Not TeePublic.
My bad. TeePublic for our shirts.
We get it.
Pro Wrestling Tees. But yeah, the shirts are awesome. These are awesome guys. Go check them out. But today I do have to go ahead and say goodbye. So, gentlemen, thank you again. Good night and God bless.
God bless.
Top Dads out.